Welcome to another Corn Craze Social Club live stream. Thank you guys for being here because today's a very special show. We've got a live call-in segment, and the reason I felt it was necessary to do this was because we went through a traumatic experience last weekend. We've had 9 months, whatever it's been, of excitement, and we as a fan base put a lot of emphasis on that first game. And we were so ready to see a win that it just took a lot of all of us. Whether you're a Nebraska diehard fan, even if they suck, or if you're just a Nebraska fan when they're good, or if you're not even a Nebraska fan at all and you root for another team, you felt pain for Nebraska last week and for Scott Frost, or maybe you didn't feel pain for Scott Frost. Maybe you're like, screw you, Scott Frost. You should have been gone a long time ago. But the point is, it was a rough, traumatic experience. And rather than bring on a guest, because I could bring on a lot of guests who would have a lot of things to say about Scott Frost, about the team, about the state of the program, about the fan base who's apologetic to him, whatever. I thought it would be better for us to come together as just this tight-knit group because I like all you guys, right? I can trust that all you guys have my feelings in your own heart. So if I'm talking to you, you're not going to be so crazy and off the wall. Like a guy like Coach JB, who was another guest that I was suggested to bring on, who totally ripped the program of Scott Frost the other day on one of his Twitter things. Anyway, the point is, I just feel like this should be something that we as a group talk about because we all understand the backstory and we understand the pain. So because you understand my pain, you can empathize with me. And because I understand yours, I can empathize with you. So I just feel like it's a better communal conversation than bringing in an outsider who's going to give their take. And yeah, I just didn't feel like we needed any of that. So looking at the chat, first off, Daryl, I saw that you had reconstructive surgery on your shoulder. Hope you get better. That sucks. I had shoulder surgery before and it's not fun at all. Welcome, chat. Thank you guys for being in here. Like I said, we're going to talk about a lot of different things today because I'm going to take live calls. And on those live calls, I'm giving you guys freedom to ask whatever you want. I said this week in my video that I didn't want to entertain any of the new coach speak and things like that. But this is a therapy session. So it's whatever you want to talk about. Yeah, I don't want to get too extreme and have a bunch of negativity, obviously, because I don't have time for that. And my emotions aren't ready for that. So it's got to be, a normal conversation like we're people. Also, I'm not going to have cameras on. So I'll have my camera on and we'll just hear your voice. So if you're in the waiting room chat right now, you can turn off your camera or you can leave it on. Either way, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you're not muted when you do come on the show. Really quick, for those of you who do want to call in, and I'll mention this a few times throughout the show, if you want to call in and you're in the Discord, you go to the left side of the panel where you have all of the different channels to select. It'll say waiting room at the very top. You click that, it'll enter you in the waiting room. You'll be in there with some other people from the Discord groups. You'll be able to talk to them, but I would advise you to mute yourselves so they can watch the show and you guys aren't bantering back and forth and disrupting people. Anyway, that's the simple way to join the waiting room. And yeah, we're going to start taking some calls. I want to start off by bringing on Denon, my co-host. Denon, where are you? Hello. Denon's birthday was yesterday. I sent Denon some of the Corn Craze merch. If you guys see, he's rocking the 402 hoodie. I've got the Social Club shirt on. Also got the Social Club wristband on because, like I said, this is a community and I feel at home with you guys. So I like to rep our stuff. If you guys want to get the merch, you can go to the Corn Craze website and you can check out everything we've got in there. We've got stickers and wristbands that are free shipping. So if you want to get those, I send those out through the mail. They get there pretty quick. But anyway, let's take a call and start this off because I feel like it's important that we just get into it. Denon, can you bring in one of the random people on the waiting room?
All right. Let's see. Cade Atkinson, 1.
Cade, you there? Got to unmute yourself.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't completely ready yet. We'll give him a second, just because the YouTube's behind.
Yo, Cade, what's happening?
Not much, man.
So what do you have to say about this week? What do you have to ask? What's your commentary on this situation?
What I have to say about our wide receiver group is I think IGC is taking over, and he's going to go over 100 yards again.
You think he's receiver 1?
Yeah.
What do you think, chat? Is IGC receiver 1? Or is someone else going to emerge? I think he could have another big game this week because I just think he's a dog. He's going to go after it. But in the long run, you never know who could step up. Who's another receiver you like? If you weren't going to go with IGC, who's the second one?
Probably going with Marcus Washington.
You liked what you saw from him?
Yeah, I like the catches I saw from him.
Yeah, I think he's built pretty good. I think that his chemistry with Casey's obviously going to pay off in the long run. You know, I'm not sure that we're going to learn that much about the receivers this week, but what do you think, Denon? Is there a lot to learn, or is this more of a tune-up game?
I think we'll see more depth this week. I think if the game takes off well enough in the first quarter, second quarter, like it should, we'll start seeing more receivers. I think we'll see more. I think Omar Manning should be back this week. Is that
He
what I
will be,
heard?
I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think we should get a look at him against what I don't believe is going to be that good of a secondary. I mean, tough, but not that good. So, but I'd rather see the other side. I'd rather see more running backs, but in this kind of game. So
I think this weekend it's going to be more running back focused than receiver. Okay, Cade, if you had to make a prediction for one receiver who didn't have a very productive week last week, what is your prediction for a guy who will break out this week?
If Omar's playing, I bet Omar Manning, but I don't think he's playing. But Alante Brown is what I'm thinking. I
Yeah,
think
Alonte's good.
he'll get out there and make some plays.
I like it. And where are you calling in from, Cade?
I'm calling in from Gothenburg, Nebraska.
Well, we're happy to have you here. Thank you for being part of the social club. I'm going to move on
Yep.
to another caller, but thanks for calling in.
Yep.
All right, I want to answer a couple of questions in chat real quick. Sean says, I have no idea what I'm doing with Corn Craze Discord. Just one question that I have been dying to ask you. I get the 402 merch, but where is my 308? Sean, I couldn't release too many merch pieces because we don't have enough people buying merch yet. But one day the channel gets big enough, then I'll have a whole collection of everything that resonates with all of us. Promise we'll get there one day. Daryl says, POW, I really hope you're right. First game of the season is always a big question regarding fluidity of coaches and players. Yeah, I think we could have learned a lot from that first game, or the players could have learned a lot from that first game that they're going to be able to take into these next few weeks. So I'm not too worried about them losing in that first week. A lot of people are, but I think that when you come out in the first week, you got to knock some rust off. Northwestern was obviously going to be the better team out there because they have a better coach and they had more consistency coming back on offense, but it is what it is. I think we bring on another caller. I'm bringing in Cody. Cody, can you unmute yourself? Cody. Nope. Cody aborted. We're bringing in Beansy. Beansy, you ready to unmute?
Hey, Connor and Denon. How you guys doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Dude, I'm killing it out here in Denver. Just wanted to call in and say thanks to you guys for doing these shows. Number one, you guys are the best. Some reasonable Husker coverage is definitely needed these days, and you guys certainly are killing it out here. What I really wanted to start off with was, taking a look at that tight end room. I mean, today Frost said that Vokalek was day-to-day and that it's looking pretty good, but I mean, beyond him, what do we really have? Obviously, it didn't seem like Borkircher was getting the job done.
Yeah, I think Borkircher's raw. He hasn't played very much in the past, right? So he's new. I think they like what they saw from him in practice, and that's why he got the start over somebody like a Brewington. But I don't think our long-term solution for this season is going to be those two guys. I think at least what I'm counting on is Vokalek to stay healthy, number one. And number two, maybe getting back Thomas Fedoni, who's a better athlete than all of them, and having him move up the depth chart a little bit by, I don't know, let's say the Rutgers game. If you get him back by mid-October or early October and he can be a factor the rest of the way, then at least you got some depth there. I don't know what you think about that.
No, definitely. And I think, obviously, Fedone has the pedigree coming out of high school, super highly rated and all that. I just kind of wonder if he comes back and, you see a lot of guys get hurt and get shaken up so many times. You kind of have to wonder a little bit if he's going to kind of have some similar issues of being afraid of contact or just having rust on the hands, catching the ball.
I think the benefit to him coming back when they think he'll come back, because what I'm hearing is he could be a early October return. You've got two games who are against teams who aren't going to be as physical as some of the crazier Big Ten West teams like Minnesota, Wisconsin, right? So maybe if he can shake off some rust against the Rutgers, that would help him a lot. But yeah, I think there's a lot of unknown there. And the only true variable that we know does make a factor and can win games for us at that position is Vokalek. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know how these other guys right now in that room are going to play into the long-term stretch because they don't have as much experience, and they're going to need a lot of work if they are going to step into that role.
Yeah,
Then,
no, absolutely. And, you got to hope a little bit for A.J. Rollins to come out of there as an Omaha kid. You always love to see the Nebraska kids get on the field, if they're talented enough to be there.
did he play he did play in the spring game, A.J. Rollins, yeah?
I believe he did briefly.
He was one of the guys I liked in the spring game, I think. I actually liked
Definitely.
him over Borkacher as a receiver. Was Borkacher a walk-on? Just curious, doesn't matter.
I'm fairly certain he has a walk-on. I think he has a brother on the roster or who was on the roster as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure. What are you thinking, Denon? Tight end wise, do you trust in Borkacher or Brewington more?
I think typically I haven't put a lot of thought into the depth of the tight end room. I would probably lean Brewington, just almost arbitrarily, just because. No particular reason. Well, okay. I think he's got. I like his name, but also I like the way he looks out on the field. I think
he looks like more of a receiver, whereas Borkacher looks more like a blocking tight end. That's fair to say.
Well, when you look at what Whipple's trying to do with this offense, someone who's a little faster, a little quicker, maybe has softer hands. Although you see a lot of big tight ends, big blocking tight ends with soft hands too. But I don't know. I guess it really depends on what we're trying to do at the time that we're trying to do it. I think in general, with what Whipple's trying to do with this offense, based off of what we saw last week, I lean more towards a Brewington.
Fair enough. I think we're going to learn a lot this week and next week because the depth should get to play. Now, they might not get to play. And yes, we're going to do some predictions here today, Gavin, to give you an idea of what I think is going to happen and what some of the rest of us think is going to happen in this game. But hopefully Nebraska can get up a little bit and we can actually see the depth get some work in. That's my hope. I don't know. What do you think, Beansy? Is this a blowout where the depth gets in, or do you think this will be tighter than we're hoping?
I do definitely think that this is the game where we need to see every tight end that we have because, after Vokalek went out, it really just seemed like, the air was sucked out of the offense as a security blanket for Casey, just a sure-handed tight end. I think we just need to get some guys in a rhythm and just see what other people can do in the event that Vokalek can't play this weekend or can't play at any point going forward.
Fair enough. Well, the good news is on Vokalek, I think he's back by OU no matter what. So as long as they've got him for that and he can stay healthy through that game, I think they got a serious weapon on offense. So anyway, thank you for being here, Beansy. I'm going to bring some more people in, but seriously, thank you for the support and being one of our first ever callers.
Hey, thank you so much. Show love, spread love, go Big Red.
Talk to you soon. All right, guys. I want to answer some of these questions in the chat really quick before I bring another comments or a caller in. One of the comments here from Randy. Connor, I ran across your channel last year and subscribed. You do a great breakdown pre and post game. Keep up the great work. Hey, Randy, thank you a lot for that. Guys, this channel has grown a lot ever since I first started it. I've learned a lot. I've learned more about how to edit better, learned about how to create better content and storytell better. So as I continue to grow, I really appreciate when you guys comment and give me your feedback on what you like that I do, what you think I could do better, what other type of content I could bring to you. So yeah, I'm putting a lot more content out, as you guys have seen. I do about 3 videos a week and 2 live streams a week. So it's a lot of days of content I got to fill up. And it gets harder when things aren't going as well because people aren't as excited, right? So anyway, all of your feedback helps me and it motivates me to create more. So anyway, thank you for that, Randy. Zachary said, what do you think of the Urban Meyer rumors? I've got someone in the chat I'm friends with, actually. I want to bring him in for this one. Jake, are you there?
Yeah.
Jake, I want to talk to you about the Urban Meyer rumors because you're an outsider, but you're also a quote unquote Big Ten expert. Just so you guys know, this is my friend Jake. He was, what were you, Jake? Play commentator and radio show host. Also, really quick, mute yourself or mute the computer so I can't hear myself echo in the background.
I got you. Yeah, I was at Indiana University. I was part of the sports radio department, having a weekly show every week, similar to what you do, talking about IU sports. And yeah, I called the game from Assembly Hall, game from Memorial Stadium.
Perfect. Point is, Jake is a legitimate Big Ten guy. So let's talk about the Urban Meyer rumors, Jake. What are your thoughts on worst came to worst and something didn't go how we wanted it to go for the rest of the season, and you've got some options on the table? is Urban Meyer a guy that if you were a Nebraska fan, you would want here?
I mean, Urban Meyer has been a winner at every single stop he's been at in college.
Okay.
So his results speak for itself. Ohio State, Florida, Bowling Green, he turned all those programs around. Florida was considered kind of a joke of a program before he got there. So, he's obviously shown the ability to turn teams around and turn them around fast. Of course, he has had some of the off the field issues, as we know about, especially during his time in Jacksonville. But if you're talking about strictly what he brings on the field at game on Saturdays, then it would be tough to say that Nebraska wouldn't want him.
So do you think there would be any legitimacy to a claim that he would be interested in coming here? Because there was that Dan Patrick show clip. For those of you who didn't see it, Dan Patrick has a podcast or radio show, and he talked about Arizona State and Nebraska being two potential landing spots. And he almost tried to confirm the rumors, but I don't think you can really confirm that type of a rumor because there's nothing that's happened yet. There's no word that Scott Frost won't have a job next year, and there's no word that Urban would even be interested. But do you think Nebraska would have a chance at getting a guy like Urban because they've been down bad for so long? And it almost feels like, to me, Nebraska has been a place where coaches go to die. I think there's still hope, but what do you think from an outside perspective?
I think a lot of the rumors when it comes to him and his job security, especially, and not to mention the fact that people think that he, when he retired from Florida due to his health issues, people thought that was really just a way of him quitting because he wanted to go to Ohio State. So I think a lot of people were blaming that on his wife, that his wife has a lot of influence on where they want to live. And he, like most men, acquiesced to his wife. Happy wife, happy life. Urban Meyer has enough stress to deal with being one of the biggest coaches in the country. So, to him, the check is the same from Florida as is from Ohio State. So it's not that big of a deal. His reputation now after Jacksonville has down to the point that I do think Nebraska is a legitimate possibility, especially because of the new media deal and the fact that the Big Ten and SEC seem to be the two super conferences that are forming. I don't think he's going to go to any school that aren't in those two conferences. And while I do think he was want to hold out for one of the upper tier jobs in one of those schools, the fact that we're even saying, even that I'm even implying that Nebraska is not one of them is kind of the point of kind of the issue. So I think that Nebraska has the money to get him. I think that they have the program history that he'd be able to recruit from there. The real question would be, does he want to live there or does he want to hold out for one of the places that his wife may want to live more? And given that he's only a year out from the Jacksonville job, I don't know how big of a rush he's in to take the first job available.
Yeah, that's fair. And for me, the key thing you said there was Nebraska's got a huge advantage at landing a big name coach. And this is outside of just Urban because they're in the Big Ten. At some point, you're going to come down to the only options being in the Big Ten or the SEC because those are the biggest schools with the most money to pay and with the most recruiting opportunity, right? So, all right, Jake. Well, thank you for your thoughts.
Well, I do want to bring up one more point. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
If you want to kick me out, that's fine. But I did want to talk about Frost a little bit.
Bring it in.
This is a point that I want to make about Scott Frost because everywhere he's been, he has been a winner. When he was a player at the University of Nebraska, 24-2 is a record. When he was at Oregon, his team made it to a BCS Bowl every year. When he became the offensive coordinator, his quarterback won the Heisman. They made a national championship game. When he goes to UCF, he takes a team that's 0-13 to 13-0 in 2 years. That is his coaching history before Nebraska. Everywhere he has been, and playing history, everywhere he's been a winner. And when you look at Nebraska, they're so close, it seems. Every single one of these games come down to the last minute. Every single one of these games, there's one or two key mistakes that you should be able to build on and fix off of. His recruiting is really good, and I really would think it would be a shame if they got rid of him when it seems that he's so close to turning the page when the coaches that are available, I think the worst case scenario for Nebraska, imagine if they fired him. Where do you think he would go? I think a great landing spot for him if he were to get fired would be as the Alabama offensive coordinator. That's not what Nick Saban loves to do. He loves to take these former guys who are incredible offensive coordinators and failed maybe as a head coach. Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, Bill O'Brien, and he turns them around and they go on to great success. Nebraska, I think worst case scenario is if they fire Scott Frost, he goes on, rebuilds his career, and takes one of their rivals, maybe Texas or Oklahoma or another Big Ten team, to the promised land.
Well, bring in another caller now. We're going to bring in Dom. See what Dom's got to say. You there? You can unmute yourself. Dom.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Hey, how are you doing?
Yeah, hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
All right. Well, what I wanted to say was like, I think Nebraska they need to really keep it simple. No, kind of like how Bama, Ohio State, Michigan them do. Sometimes they get way too much complex within the game, and it just kind of throws off momentum, throws off just basic stuff. Like literally, it's like tell the hogs on both sides of the ball. It's time to start eating, guys. Want like a yard and a half, 2 yards down the field, and I believe they can really turn the corner once that starts happening. But to me, it's just all about simplicity. I believe they need to get back to just like they used to do. Like it wasn't all fancy dancy and all like that. It was just hey, pound it down your throat. Let my guys who work their asses off in the off season let it pay off. I don't need to get pretty. I don't need to get fancy. Just go straight down your throat.
Okay, I have a question here for you because last week in that Northwestern game, it felt a little bit like they just wanted to do exactly what you're talking about at the beginning of the game. After that first drive, obviously, the first drive, they opened it up and they threw it downfield, and it worked. But when they started to go power run, were you impressed by that?
I was a little bit. Be honest, with you, I think they should put Yant at fullback and let him go ahead and be a lead blocker. I think that will open up more holes instead of just trying to get these running backs. 'Cause I know they like to run small backs and use them as a like 240 pounders. But I think they literally should go back to maybe an I formation and use Yant in the fullback position, give that extra blocking. I think for guys like Ramir and Anthony Grant and especially Gabe Irvin use their speed. I mean, come on, that's one on one with them and DB. I take that any day. To be honest with you.
You know, it is interesting. They haven't had a lead blocker back there, like a fullback. They just use their 5 guys on the line, or sometimes they have a 6. And I think we even saw a 7th guy we saw 5 on the line with 2 power running backs leading the way for Yant at the goal line. And it failed. Do you remember that play, what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what play you're talking about.
I'm afraid
It's
that simplicity won't work to some degree with this offensive line. Let me know, chat. Do you think bring back simplicity with this current team? Because we're talking about winning tomorrow or Saturday. What wins now? Is it the simplicity or is it a little bit of outside run, RPO, zone reads, moving the ball around in different ways to confuse defenses? Because, Dom, I'm a little bit afraid that Nebraska doesn't have the keys in place to run a simple offense. That's my
yeah,
fear.
that's the issue. That's why I said literally have to tell these hogs like you guys got to give like at least a 2 yard push, give these running backs a chance to get some type of vision going, but they can't do that on both sides of the ball because both the O line and D line got completely pushed back on both of them. Then the run game, I mean, Casey Thomas is going to be running and throwing for his life like every play, and the running back's just going to keep getting lit up, and you're only going to get 2 yards of carry. I don't know. I just think like more just extra blocking. Like I would love to see Yant in a fullback position. Just even when you pound it up the middle with him, no triple options like they used to do with what's the fullbacks? Schlesinger and number 45. I can't remember his name. Makovica. All those type of guys. It kind of worked with them. It's like, all right, do I pay attention to the quarterback running, the fullback, the running back? He can't step back and throw it. I mean, shoot. Well, Crouch won a Heisman doing that, so that was just my thing. Like, you don't have to try to be like every other team. Be what Nebraska is, and that is a pound down your throat team.
Fair enough. I think our one thing we're not going to see this year is Yant playing fullback, unfortunately. Maybe they do it, but I just don't know that they're playing with a fullback, period. I don't know that Mark Whipple incorporates that into his offense, and I know for sure Scott Frost doesn't incorporate into his. So likely no fullback, but I guess we can hope. What were you going
If
to
you
say,
see
Denver?
Yeah,
Yant
that's my only
lead
thing.
blocking,
I just hope for it. I mean, I know it's not gonna happen, but I just like to see it though. I mean, I've seen teams like Michigan State, they've ran it before. Iowa certainly has, and it just always came to success. At least 8, 9 wins they always get with it.
Yep. Makes sense. All right. Well, thank you for joining the show, Dom, and we'll see
All
you
right, thank
on
you.
another one soon.
All right, thanks.
What were you going to
Connor,
say,
I think
Dennon?
if we see Yant doing any kind of lead blocking this year, it's going to come in a quarterback run game
Yeah, I think so too. Or
with
if we were going to,
Smothers
or
out
if
on
we
the
were
field.
going to, yeah, I think that's actually probably the only way it would happen because no one's going to lead block for Yant, not for
Yeah.
fullback, unless you dropped a tight end right in front of him, which maybe they'll incorporate that now that they have that failed goal line attempt with the two fullbacks. I don't even know who was in at fullback for those plays.
I didn't
but
notice. I would imagine they would have pulled tight ends to do it, but I didn't
you were,
recognize
you were
them.
drinking. You were drinking too much. That's why I didn't notice.
I wasn't drinking yet.
Trying to
That
get through the
happened
chat.
later after the game was over.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to bring in another chat. We've got Kyler coming in. Kyler, can you hear me? Kyler. Unmute
Just so
yourself.
everybody knows, YouTube is about 20 seconds behind real life. So if you're looking at YouTube for confirmation that you're being pulled in or that's where you're listening, you're probably there's a delay. So just keep that in mind. If you're watching YouTube, it's about 20 seconds behind real life. So when we pull you in, you won't know that you're being pulled in yet on YouTube. You need to be paying attention to the...
Kyler didn't pick up, so I moved on to DJ.
Okay.
DJ, can you hear me? No DJ. What's happening, guys? Nick, you want a shot? Nick, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Me and Denon are just in here talking about, the current state of the program and trying to get through chat as we do it. What do you have thoughts on?
Well, first off, I just want to say, love your channel. Been a subscriber since the early days, and so just pumped to see your channel grow like it has, and excited to see where it keeps going. So my big question is, so I had time to digest after the Northwestern game, and then we got the press conference with Frost and Chenander, and it kind of got me all riled up again. Mainly because, especially with Chenander, like when we started talking about the defense and the missed tackles, Chenander kind of said, yeah, there's some missed tackles, but, we're going to work on those, and kind of brush it off. Like,
let me pause you really quick so I can clarify. You're talking about the press conference from a couple days ago.
Yes. Yeah. This week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me pause you there for everyone who didn't see it. So you guys know Chenander did a press conference yesterday or the day before, and he talked about and addressed the missed tackles. And to be honest, and Nick, you can back me up here if you think I'm right, or you can tell me if I'm wrong. Okay. It sounded like Chenander didn't watch the same game we did, because he said there were a couple missed tackles, and he talked highly of Nick Henrich, and I like Nick Henrich. I think he's awesome, and he's going to be great, and he's going to play in the NFL. But it didn't sound like he was holding Henrich accountable for a bad game. It didn't sound like he was holding the defense accountable for their bad tackling.
That's 100% what I'm talking about. Like,
okay, cool.
And like I remember Heinrich last season, and I felt like he did well. So I was excited for all of our linebackers personally. But in that game, like especially Heinrich, like I was totally disappointed, and I felt like they asked about him specifically, and he was like, "Yeah, I think he did great. I don't think he missed a tackle." And I just had my jaw dropped, and I'm like, is he simply doing this to? Because I know Frost and his especially his old staff, they were loyal to a fault.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, like, Heinrich is a captain. Is he simply trying to protect his captains and his leaders on the defense?
I'm going to have to say yeah, because he doesn't want to destroy their confidence, and he doesn't want to tear them down as players, right? They're his guys. He might do it privately and tell him, hey, what the fuck was that? But he's not about to come on public stage and say, yeah, Henrich sucked last week, and confirm what we're all saying, right? And he's not going to say the defense couldn't tackle worth a shit. Because why say that and throw your defense under the bus? At the end of the day, it's his fault, not these players' fault. Because I can promise you this. If Brett Bielema was the coach at Nebraska, or someone good, Brett Bielema, no. Let's say Ryan Day was the coach at Nebraska. This team would have performed a lot better last week, because it's not an issue with the players. It's an issue with their training, their preparation, the scheme, and other things, right? So,
right.
I think
but
you make a really good point.
Right. And here's my other thing, like, to that comment. Like, you have some of these high caliber coaches.
Yeah.
I feel like, not that he needs to throw them under the bus, but I do feel like some of those high caliber coaches would be like, yeah, the tackling was atrocious.
Yeah.
That needs to get fixed, and these guys need to step up. Like, and that's all I was looking for from Chenander, or even from Frost. Like let's start, like, there's got to be some sort of accountability from the players actually executing what the coaches are supposedly seeing in the practices leading up to the games.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. I don't know why these coaches are like that. They've always kind of been like this. They're very nice. That's one
Yeah.
thing. And I think that some other schools have a little bit harsher reactions. I remember last year, Brett Bielema, for those who don't know who Brett Bielema is, he is the coach at Illinois. He took over their program last year. They sucked. They beat Nebraska, but they still sucked. He inherited a team that was a bit of a mess. A comment that I remember him making, which threw a lot of people off guard, but now I'm like, wow, maybe he just has some balls as a coach that some other guys don't. He said that he didn't have the right pieces and essentially insinuated that his team wasn't good enough to win games, blaming the players that he inherited. And I'm not sure if that's good coaching. I'm not a football coach, but it's a
Right.
little bit harsh, but at least he's holding his guys accountable, because I think they responded a little bit better after he said that. And maybe they were pissed off. Maybe they were offended. Who knows? But
Right.
different coaches have different styles, something to take note of, and what I see with other coaches in the Big Ten. So who
Cool.
knows, Nick?
Thanks,
I don't
Connor.
have the answers.
I just wanted to get your input because my jaw dropped and it was eating me up after listening to that. So
Yeah, I think a lot of us are on that same page. All right, well, thanks for
Cool.
calling in, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, guys, I got a couple super chats I want to answer really quick, Denon, because I don't want them to disappear. The first one comes from Andrew. He says, bold prediction, Travis Vokalek is the next Travis Kelce, big body, has some moves, soft hands, thoughts. Okay, Travis Vokalek is majorly underrated in my opinion because he's never made it through a full season as a starter. He hasn't been healthy his whole time here. There's always been little lingering issues. We've seen him make really big plays, and I actually agree with this bold prediction if he can stay healthy. He had a great 5 catches in that last game, and I think he would have exploded for almost 100 yards if he would have played the whole way through. He was a weapon that they used in the middle of the field, and guys could not defend him. I really like Travis Vokalek going forward. Denon, bold prediction, is this ridiculous, or can you get on board with it?
I like Vokalek a lot. He looked really good this week, and boy, the next Travis Kelce's really tough to say. That is really bold.
It's a strong statement. It's bold.
Yeah. It's possible. That's what I think. It's certainly possible.
Andrew, Denon and I are back in your bold prediction. Crypto Badger's got a comment. He came in with the $50 super chat. By the way, Andrew, thank you for the $20. Zachary, thank you for the $5 earlier if I didn't say it. I forget that you guys are actually tipping me money. I just see the comments pop up, but it really does help to go and support the channel. Crypto Badger says, it's hard to have a run game without a line. We had a beast running back in high school with 2,500 yards his junior year, but the line was all seniors. He rushed for 1,100 his senior year. It's not complicated. The line has to do its job. And that goes back to what we were talking about a minute ago with Dom and keeping things simple. It's hard to keep things simple when the front line can't do their job. And if they can't do their job, the running backs aren't going to be able to be effective. The quarterbacks won't. Actually, Casey Thompson was better against the blitz. His completion percentage went up against the blitz last week. So maybe that's not true for the quarterback. But for the running backs, yes, they struggle more when the offensive line isn't as good. Thanks, Crypto Badger, for being here. We always love having you. Roadside music. I haven't even read the bold prediction yet. Let's see what it says. Nebraska realizes screens are the easiest ways to slow down a rush and get Grant some space. So some people had problems with the opening play call being that little out in the flat pass. It wasn't really a screen. It was a dip to Trey Palmer behind the line of scrimmage. It was a flat route. And people were saying, oh, here we go again. I wasn't a hater about that. I actually really liked getting him in space in a one-on-one situation, and he had a good play off of it. I think Nebraska is going to realize that they've got weapons who can make moves in one-on-one situations, and hopefully they let guys like Grant or like Trey Palmer, or maybe even Marcus Washington, if he's got some speed or some moves, do something on the sides. So
if you have a quarterback that can hit that stuff right, and you have a downfield threat, which those in the previous years, Nebraska's looked terrible on those plays. It's opened up a game with a fumble because of the, anything immediately horizontal. I hated seeing it. It looked good last week. It did. It every time, whatever little bubble screens or whatever outside stuff they were doing looked good. So I think it is. I think he's right. I'm going to back that bold one because I agree with it.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of little changes we see with the offense over the course of the season because Whipple came in with an entirely new skill set of players, guys who didn't have what guys last year had at Nebraska. So when you're looking at film from Nebraska as an outside coach coming in, you can't look at that and say, okay, I'm going to make these little tweaks. You've got to make tweaks off these new guys, all these transfer guys. Like I said, 3 of the leading receivers are transfers. It's really hard to watch film on each of those guys from different schools and know how you're going to pair them together. The starting running backs are transfer. The starting quarterbacks are transfer. This offense is going to evolve. And I think that's why a lot of people still have hope that it can change and that we can see some growth out of this staff and this team, because it's really hard to do great things when you've got that many transfers. If you go back to Michigan State, people like to compare Nebraska to Michigan State with all the transfers from last year. Michigan State brought in one of the best running backs in the country. They didn't have to change their quarterback, all their receivers, their whole O-line. They didn't change any of that. They brought in a transfer running back and some guys on defense. And that running back took over games because they already had a decent quarterback. They already had good receivers. They had a good play caller, and they knew what scheme fit. It was easier for them to be successful out of the transfer portal right away, whereas Nebraska's got so many new pieces you got to figure out how to use. I promise you, Nebraska's offense will get better. It starts this week, and I'm going to be really interested to see what changes happen now. But over the next 4 or 5 weeks, we're going to see this offense really come together. Jordan, thank you for the $50 super chat. You are the man. Thanks for being here. Guys, you guys are great in the chat with questions, hot takes, and everything else. It really makes this show fun when I can read what all you guys have to think. I'm going to bring in another caller. We ready for one, Denon?
Yep.
Got Goose coming in. Goose, can you hear me? Goose, you there? Yes, sir.
Hey, Connor, what's up?
I'm just hanging out, just talking to you guys. What's up with you?
Oh, nothing much, just hanging out in my room right now.
I love it. Me too.
Yeah, I was just doing some homework for college, but
Okay.
I couldn't miss this.
I like it. So what are you thinking?
All right, so here's my thought. Hear me out on this. All right. So honestly, I think Frost is going to succeed this year. I hope he succeeds.
Okay.
But I'm going to give you the view here in Lincoln, home base.
You go to UNL?
Yeah.
Great.
Honestly, it's getting to the point where he might need to be fired. And then hear me out. This is what. I was in class here today. I was talking. And nobody cares. That's honestly how it feels. I mean, you go back a couple of years and it's not apathy. It's people are getting mad about the Husker games.
So it's gone from, because you just said they don't care. So it's gone from they don't care to where they're actually pissed off. Is that what you mean?
No. The other way. It's gone where they're pissed off to where they don't care.
They're so mad that they've lost complete interest, is what you're saying.
They've lost interest in it. So we're losing one of our biggest strengths here at Nebraska, which is our fan base. And I think Trev Albert sees that, and I think he just has to pull the plug on the whole Frost experiment, if I'm being honest.
Dude, speaking on Trev Alberts, I watched, who was it? Greg Peterson. He had something on 3, a little video. He said he was on the sideline next to Trev Alberts during the Northwestern game, and that Trev Alberts was hyping up the fans, excited the whole way through. Onside kick hits, Alberts goes dark. Arms crossed, doesn't crack a smile the rest of the game, just pissed off. I think a lot of people don't realize something about Trev. Trev is one of us. And when he sees us down in the dirt, he's down in the dirt too. And he doesn't like this shit. And he doesn't want to deal with it. And he's not going to put up with it for that much longer. That's why I made that comment in my video yesterday about Trev Alberts and trusting him. I don't think that he's going to tolerate losing a fan base over one coach. So, Goose, you might be onto something.
I would totally agree with you. I think he cares just as much as every single one of us. He can see the apathy that's growing in the fan base. And if Frost loses 2 more games before his buyout, I think he's gone.
I think it depends on which 2. I think if he loses OU, he's safe. I think if he loses either of these next 2, he's gone. I think if he loses back-to-back Rutgers and Indiana, or he just loses Rutgers, out. So I don't even like to talk about it. Who knows what's going to happen?
It's true. I mean, I really hope this guy succeeds. I think all of the Husker Nation wants him to succeed. It's just getting to that point where you got to look at it almost logically.
What's happened is I've accepted the fact that he might not succeed now. Before I wouldn't accept it. I said, this guy's a winner. He's going to figure it out. Give him time. He's gotten time. We just don't know. So yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, thanks for calling in.
You bet, Connor.
Talk to you soon.
Whatever happens, I hope it's not till after the regular season.
I'd be okay with anything happening during the season or whatever Trev Albert says, because like I said, I trust him. I think he knows what we think, or he knows what we feel, and he's going to do similar to something along the lines of what we think.
I just think for the players. Yeah. It's always nice to have.
Here's a question. Well, yeah, for the players, but at the same time, if you have a chance to go and make a move on a big name coach, got to do it for those players. Here's a question from Tyler, or a comment. He said, seriously, how old were college kids when Sue was here? Our last great team. Man, that was what, 2009? That was 13 years ago. So I guess college kids now would have been 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. God, that is crazy. I was 16 during those Sue years. I was in high school during those Sue years. Time flies, man.
I was college age when Sue was in.
Yeah, crazy. Guys, really quick again, I'm going to explain how to call in. And right now it's 4:00. The West Virginia Pitt game is starting. I'm not going to watch that first part of that because I want to be here with you guys for a few more minutes. The Purdue Penn State game's not on for another hour, which I really want to watch that one, but we'll be out of here before then. Really quick on how to call in. If you missed it earlier, you go to the Discord. On the left side, you join the waiting room. You mute yourself. I'll drag you in randomly from the waiting room into the head office, and then you'll be able to talk with me live on the show right here. So it's all through Discord. Super easy. Let's take another caller. We got Cornhead 3. Cornhead, you there? Hello, Cornhead.
Hello?
Hey, how we doing?
Pretty good, man. How's it going?
Just over here hanging out, talking about Nebraska football.
Hell yeah. Hey, man, I was just calling in to see, I'd like to see a little bit more running to the outside and some option plays this week.
Dude, what do you think about Logan Smothers coming in for some packages?
I would love to see Logan come in a little bit more.
You trust him?
That boy can run. Yeah, I watched him at the Iowa game last year, and besides the fumble and stuff, he played really well and seemed like he had control of the offense, and guys trusted him.
He started off so good in that game, and I think obviously he's got to build himself back up because you could tell he was defeated after that loss, but it's not all on him. There were a lot of issues and things that went wrong that day. One thing I thought was interesting is people have told me Casey's supposed to run 8 to 10 times a game. That's kind of in the playbook. Do you think you'd rather see some RPO with Casey and keep the defense guessing, or would you like to see Smothers come in and handle that and have people know what we're running?
I'd like to see both because I think a lot of the defenses know when Smothers come in, it's probably going to be him running it up the middle or up to the outside a little bit. So I'd like to see Casey in there running the ball as well.
Fair enough. Well, hopefully we see some more of that this week. I think they got to test it out a bit, especially against some of these weaker, slower opponents. So you're in luck. Hopefully.
Also, I think we need to get a little bit of a return game going. I've seen a lot of balls that could have been returned that had fair catch, on the 5-yard line, inside 10-yard line as well. And I didn't understand that too much.
So if I think as a return man, you're taught to do certain things. I don't know what they're teaching them, but you get the ball on the 25 if you fair catch it within the 20, I think, something like that. So you got to accept the free yards at some point, and you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're going to take an unnecessary hit. So teams, by the way of the NCAA rules, teams are incentivized to fair catch it and not return it. So you have to have a really good situation that you're looking at for a guy to make that decision to bring the ball out. Otherwise, the coaches are going to get hot because you're risking injury. You're risking a fumble. And sometimes it's just not worth it if you just get to the 25 for free, right? But hopefully we get some looks and guys can get some returns back. We'll see. Well, Denon, you got any thoughts on that?
I saw several plays where I was like, man, I wish they would have returned that one. At least 2 that come to mind right now. Where
any punts or mostly kicks?
Punts.
Yeah.
I think it was at least 1 punt, maybe 2 punts, and at least 1 kick. Where I was like, oh, what? Oh.
So here's my thinking on this. I'm in such a frame of mind of protection because of things going wrong for so long. I'm not as worried about them making plays on special teams right now. I'm just worried about them not busting and blowing up games because of special teams right now. So I'm going to look for that more this week now that we're talking about it. But my whole thing has been just grab the ball, hold on to it. Don't have any issues, no drops, no safeties, no BS. Let's just get through a game clean. Let the offense go to work, right? But I'll pay attention. We'll see.
I still get that feeling in my stomach whenever a Nebraska return man's going to catch a punt. You know what I'm talking about? Every time.
I didn't have that once this game. This game, I had a lot of confidence in the special teams, and they did. They played pretty good.
If they got to move up to catch it, that's when I get that feeling. I'm like, oh, no. He's not standing perfectly still.
Crypto Badger with a $20 super chat. Thank you for firing that in here. Trading 101, human psychology. On the downslide, you get to mad/frustrated, then hopelessness. That's the bottom. So only option now is up. Crypto Badger, you telling me you're hopeless? You don't strike me as a guy who would ever reach the bottom like that. This fan base kind of feels hopeless, though, so hopefully we
only
are
options up though.
After this. And this is the problem. We keep saying the only option's up. Last year, worst situation. Could it get worse? At this point, it could get worse.
Oh,
Let's be real.
Yeah,
I don't want to sugarcoat it for you guys because I know we got hot last weekend. The comments were rolling in. People were pissed off. Things could go left, and I'm not going to tell you they won't because shit. Every time I predicted, no, this is the bottom. It's not the bottom. Hopefully, Crypto Badger's right. This is the bottom. Let's see here. I've got Grant. Wait, nope. Grant just left. Okay, I've got Sam coming in. Sam, can you hear us? Sam, you there? No, Sam. Woozy, you're in. Can you hear us? Hello? Got to unmute yourself, brother.
Woozy, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. So yeah, and I don't know if you talked about this at all, but I think after watching the game last week, I'm very concerned about, aside from the onside kick, mostly the offensive and the defensive lines. I'm not really understanding, so after 4 years of Frost, how is it that you go about improving it? Do you sort of emphasize NIL deals for both lines, or do you think it's more of
improving the line under Frost? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Like, what would you do to sort of improve? Do you think it is, more about NIL deals, or is it something schematically, or is this just a flat out coaching error?
Yeah, it's flat out coaching at this point, right? He went out and got a new coach. He already has some of the best offensive tackle recruits in the country. Turner Corcoran and Teddy Prohaska, I think, are both highly rated 4 stars. Bryce Benhart was a 3. Let me check on Bryce Benhart really quickly. By the way, guys, shout out Bryce Benhart. That dude, major improvement since last year. That guy looks like Nebraska's best offensive lineman as of right now. So Benhart was a 4-star, top 150 in the country, number 13 offensive tackle. We expected him to be good when he first got here, and it looks like now with a good coach, he's improving. I don't know what the deal is with Corcoran or with Prohaska. Obviously, Prohaska's raw. He's only played in 2 games before this one, and he's coming off an injury. He's got work to do. But I don't think there's a real answer because if you keep bringing in 4-star talent, what's going to change, Woozy? Just think about that. What's going to change if you keep bringing in great players who aren't being used the right way or aren't being coached the right way? It's not like Nebraska's got walk-ons playing on the line.
Right, certainly. And I guess my other sort of question was, in the Big Ten, you see a lot of teams like Iowa and Wisconsin using fullbacks, I-formation type packages. And it seems like Nebraska under Whipple, a lot of people are saying it looks very homogenous with a shotgun, have a back beside the quarterback. And there's just no other blockers in the backfield, really. So it's kind of predictable for the run game, and so that probably doesn't help the O-line either. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think there's a lot of issues, and I don't know the answers to them because I thought it would be change out some coaches. And after this is the thing, though. We can't get too hung up on one game. Like I said before, there are so many new players. There's new coaching staff in place. You got to let the body of work come together. You can't just judge it right out the gate, right? So I think this is a conversation we come back to in 3 weeks, and then we see, did the offensive line actually underperform so bad in that first game and they're going to continue to underperform, or was it one game anomaly coming together, figuring things out, and now they're progressively getting better? That's an answer that I think we got to wait on. One game
Right,
isn't
certainly.
enough to look at, especially with a new system. I got a
Right.
question for you though. This one's from
Sure.
Daryl. He said, our fan base is too strong to lose the sellout streak. If we have another losing season, I couldn't guarantee next year, though. So here's my question for you. If Nebraska goes 5-7 this year, fire Scott Frost. Just say worse goes worse. Does Nebraska gets a Matt Campbell level coach. Does Nebraska revive the sellout streak next year?
I would say so, especially for the first couple of games, I would imagine. And I think the reason why I say that is because even if you have a rough start next year, assuming a new coach, I think the fan base would be sort of understanding of that.
They're going to want to give him a
Especially,
chance. I think the
right,
only way what you're saying is if you kept Frost, maybe that would be an issue going into the next year. But if you got rid of him, it'd probably get new energy invigorated in the fan base.
right. Well, let's remember this part. Nebraska, under Scott Frost, the first 6 games, what was their record? It was 0-6,
Yeah.
and they were still selling out games then. So if you were to get a new head coach next year, which is what you're saying, I think you would definitely see the sellout continue. And then you have, of course, the red carpet program behind that. So I would see the sellout definitely continuing.
I like it. Well, thank you for the insight and thank you for being a part of the channel.
Yeah, thanks so much. You have a good one.
Talk to you
Hope
soon.
sells. It's the only
Hope
thing they've
does
been
sell.
selling for the past
Hope does sell.
decade or so. Once you
Shit,
get to a
it's the only
certain
thing we've
point,
been riding on.
it's what you got to fall back on. Oh,
Man.
more hope. Here's the new piece, the new coach.
A new way we package it for you to get you in the stadium. Can't promise we're going to win games, but we can get you excited for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, they
Crypto
won't.
Badger, another tip, by the way, Denon. Do you want to read this one?
Hold on.
I got you.
I'm
just
sorry.
always finding a way to be positive. I'm the guy that everybody hates right now. I guess I should be saying fire him and follow the crowd. Badger, look at my comments. People got so triggered by me making any comment that was remotely positive about Scott Frost. And it's not even not being a Scott Frost apologist. I'm just saying, yo, let me enjoy the football season. And it is what it is right now. Firing the guy isn't going to do any good right now. Maybe firing him after game 7 does some good because you can go out and look for some new coaches. But what's the point of getting all tight right now? Let's be positive. Let's enjoy what we've got. Maybe it hurts and you got to turn off the game. But at least you got football back, bro, because I'll tell you what, the last 7 months were freaking hard for me. I was struggling over here watching YouTube of stuff I don't even care about, waiting for football to get back.
We got to train ourselves not to be negative when we see some goofball decision or some muffed punt or a fumble or an onside kick that doesn't work, because that collective negative energy is felt in the stadium. I can tell you, everybody in the stadium felt that onside kick failure. They felt that fumble that didn't get overturned when it should have been. And that alone was a momentum changer, because look, they were about to go up 21 to 3 or 10 when that fumble happened, and then all of a sudden Northwestern was climbing back in before half. Coaches get back in, they get everybody settled back down, they come out on fire, and then the onside kick happens. Some of that is the collective negativity on these 18 to 24-year-olds. Some of them are great leaders and really mature and can get past it, but there's a lot of kids on that team. So that collective negative energy, we just need to shed it. A loss is a loss. It means a lot to us as fans. We want it to be more than it is, but we're watching, coaches coach kids, and part of we need to be positive. To stay positive. Stay positive after the game. Coach Frost may lose his job mid-year, end of year, whatever it is. I hope he just sheds that. I mean, I hope by now he's at the point where he's like, you know what? Maybe I am going to lose my job. It's just time to have fun. Have fun with these players. Have fun with these kids. Whatever it is, I'm going to onside kick it 7 times a game.
No. He's not at that point. No.
I'm kidding.
He's
I'm
at the point
exaggerating.
where he's gonna try to win. This is the last shot. He's at that point, and he knows.
Yeah, cut loose. Let the kids cut loose.
Sam, can you hear us? I think we brought in Sam earlier, and he didn't get his mute off. Hey, Daryl, I see your comment. You said it was much harder for your family during the off season. What did you do, Daryl, during the off season to pass time? Because I don't know. I just watched a lot of YouTube, went to a lot of basketball games. I traveled a lot. Sam, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's happening?
Hey man, I love the channel. I love what you're doing. I love how you're bringing Husker football, to the national stage and everything.
Thank you,
Um,
brother.
yep, no problem. So my biggest issue with the whole Frost era is how we've underperformed on the offensive line, and it's killed me from day one since Adrian Martinez lined up against Colorado. We have had no push on the offensive line. We've had no running game since day one till Northwestern, and now it's like we're just fighting. We're literally just fighting for relevancy. You know what I mean? Like
Do you think
we have.
Scott Frost just doesn't care about the offensive line?
I don't think Scott Frost understands
The
Big Ten
importance?
football.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I think he's always put more of an emphasis on the athletes. When you're under a
Yeah,
Chip
yeah, no,
Kelly
I
type
agree.
of system, they're more worried about misdirections,
Yeah,
RPOs, figuring out ways to
RPOs,
spread the
those screen
field, right?
passes. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have no downfield running game at all compared to what we
Yep.
had with Bo Pelini and everybody else. Like we're just scratching our asses on the offensive line. You know what I mean? Like
Here's a
against
question I got for
Northwestern.
you.
hmm
No. Finish your thought.
No, we don't have any like creativity in the run game either, right? Like what he was talking about with Whipple, it's like all he wanted was for Casey to run the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, 100%.
that's not
Here,
a run game.
of course not. No, they need to really establish a power run. But like I said
Yeah.
before, I don't think you can establish a power run when you don't have the right offensive line to run it.
And
I think
that's my biggest issue, right? It's like we're always talking about how like the offensive we were throwing up 10 to 15 times of practice with our offensive line. It's like he just wants to shoot ourselves in the foot sometimes, man. It's like just be quiet and just let the offense come to life.
I hear you. Well, here's
And
a
that's
question I got for you.
hmm
You follow college football outside Nebraska, right?
Oh yeah.
So there's a coach named Mike Leach at Mississippi
Yeah.
State, and you're
Yep.
probably familiar with his offense. Let's say he wins 10 games this year,
hmm
beats Alabama, let's
hmm
say, and Nebraska needs a coach, and they go after Mike Leach. How are you feeling about that?
If Mike Leach succeeded in the SEC, I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay with it. But my issue with Frost is him and Whipple are arguing heads, right?
Yeah,
Whipple wants to throw the ball. Scott wants to run the ball.
yeah.
Scott is he's an offensive guy. So why is he butting heads against an offensive coordinator? In my opinion, Mark Whipple and what Casey Thompson did was the best thing that Nebraska's had going on the offensive side of the ball since Scott's taken over.
That's a
Like our
strong
pass
statement.
game. No, honestly, dude, what Casey did for the first 2.5 quarters, unmatched compared to what Adrian did. Adrian couldn't throw the ball for crap.
I mean, Adrian could throw the ball as a freshman.
Against Colorado. That was his best game ever, in my
Yeah.
opinion, dude. I went to
Dude,
that game.
he looked awesome that day. Okay, I got a question for you. This one's from the Crypto Badger. All right, so the Crypto
Mhm.
Badger, if you're familiar with all the super chats, this dude's my biggest tipper. He's freaking awesome.
Okay. hmm
So he says 0 flags, junk fumble call, crazy onside, so much stuff. Right. Here's
Yep.
where I think we are failing: the line on both sides. You can have an okay running back, but with a great line, they get 5 yards of carry. The line on both sides. So what I want to ask you is, what has been worse for Nebraska over the last 4 years? Has it been the offensive line, or has it been the defensive line in their pass rush?
Offensive line by far.
No
By
debate.
far. Not even close.
I think it's because the defense has always had some other pieces that could make it work, whereas
Oh
the
yeah.
offense just they solely relied on an offensive line because
Who's that
they
on though?
broke
Dude,
down so often.
who's that on? Shenander has developed players since he got here, right? Scott Frost is an offensive guy. Scott Frost has not developed an offensive player since he's gotten here. Chenander has developed pretty much all of our first
I'm
round
trying to
draft
hold
picks.
on. I'm trying to think. You're saying Scott Frost hasn't developed one offensive player? Chat, who's the best offensive player who Scott Frost or one of his other
Wan'Dale
coaches has
Robinson.
developed? Would you
Wan'Dale.
say that he developed him?
No,
wouldn't.
I don't think he developed him, but he was the best recruit.
He was the best recruit, but let's take out recruiting. Chat, best player developed at Nebraska on the offensive side of the ball.
It'd probably be Cam Jurgens.
I don't think you can argue that because you took him from
The tight end.
From a tight end to a center. What was that motion?
Austin Allen, tight end. Hands over the
Austin
head catch.
Allen. That was another one. Austin Allen was developed. Cam Jurgens, the chat saying Cam. Everybody's saying Cam. Yeah, okay. We're all on the same page. It's got to be Cam.
I don't think.
I think it's Cam too, but like Cam had one good year and he just left, right?
Yeah.
That was the 1 year he could snap the ball.
Mm-hmm. That sucks. Literally, we got 1 year out of him. Oof.
Yeah,
painful.
That's my point.
Man, could you imagine if he was there this
That's
year?
a Scott Frost guy.
Yeah. Oof.
Snapping the ball to Thompson?
Yeah, that would be legit if we had a real center this year. A solid one who had experience. But maybe Hickson's going to pull it together. Who knows? Too early to tell. Well, thank you, Sam, for coming on. Appreciate you. Appreciate you being a supporter of the show and the channel.
No problem. Thanks.
We'll talk to you soon. All right, guys, bringing another caller. This is really good. Are you guys liking this? We've been on for about an hour now. I'll end it if you guys are over it. But if you guys like it, we'll just keep rolling.
Don't give them too much of an option. They'll have this go for 4 hours.
Oh, well, no, if they want it for that long. I mean, we got Zay in here. Zay, can you hear me? Zay. Hello.
Always got to give people a little bit of delay.
Zay, you got yourself off mute.
Probably walked away from his computer.
Yeah, we'll boot him. Zay, we tried. Ben says this live call platform is dope. Yeah, Ben, I think we're going to do this more often. I really like taking calls from you guys, getting the ideas that you guys have in your head out to the public because it's easier when you can voice it, not just comment it. You can get a lot more out. Let's see here. I'm reading through some of these comments. A lot of you guys like Cam Jurgens. Samari Teray, Daryl, I don't know if you could claim was developed by Nebraska. He came in already developed from Montana.
Yeah, and he was better than all the other receivers coming in from Montana. I mean, just to the point of player development.
Yep.
There has been much better overall defensive player development, in my opinion, than offense. Not that offense hasn't been good, or that there hasn't been, because there has. I just think it has all-encompassingly been better on defense.
Yeah, I like it. Well, we've got LSU vs Far, and bro, I've got to know what to call you because I always see LSU vs Far in my chat. I don't know what it is. He left. I really wanted to know what his name was. Oh, we've got Marquise Buford Sr. Oh, hey Connor, we love the merch. I'm going to frame the merch and the card. You're the man. Hey, Mr. Buford, like I said, thank you very much. We are all really appreciative of you helping us get your son as our first ever interview. And it honestly, it made this show turn into what it is now. So it's been awesome. But I'm glad you got the merch and that you liked the card.
When he got that fumble,
we're gonna bring it. Yeah, that was.
I was with my son. We were like, it's like he was on the show.
That was exciting. Okay, we got LSU back. LSU vs Far, bro. How do I say your name? What is your name? What do I call you? You gotta take yourself off mute.
Yep. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Name's long. Backstory doesn't make a lot of sense. Just call me Far. Call me Colin. Whatever you want.
Okay, Far. I like it.
All right. So, I guess my question for you guys is, I don't know if it was just me, but it looked like towards the end of the Northwestern game, Casey just broke. Like, we all know he has the talent. We all know he's the best quarterback on the team. But at that point, can we all agree his head just wasn't in the game? He just couldn't get it done.
Casey?
Yeah, Casey, towards the end of the Northwestern game.
I think you can't expect perfect, right? And he was as good to perfect as you can expect throughout that entire game. He adjusted completion percentage was like 78%. That's higher than I would have expected from him and higher than I would require of him if I was Mark Whipple. He had a couple if he throws towards the end, but all quarterbacks will unless you're Tom Brady, right? I don't know that I would say his head wasn't in the game. I think there were moments where he was a little bit confused or surprised by some of the plays that were developing. He got hit in the back one time off the left side. I think Prohaska missed a tackle missed a edge rusher completely, and that guy had the tackle or the sack on Casey. That rattled him. And then he had the play where Martin just stopped and didn't go after the ball. That definitely confused Casey, and then he had the interception to follow that up. At the end,
it was
but
tipped.
I don't think
it was in his hands.
Bobbled. I don't know that I would say Casey looked out of it or wasn't in the game. I thought he had a really good game.
All right, yeah, I guess I mean through the first.
At what point do you think things turned for him?
I think I don't know for him what it was, but I mean, definitely sometime in the third quarter, right? Because that's when Northwestern just started shutting us down. And, like Casey had a few iffy passes. Like I can't remember them exactly, but, if you look at his first half of the game, right, he was, I think he maybe had one bad pass. And the rest of the time, I think you could largely say it came down to, receivers just didn't quite catch it. But once you got into the second half, there were just a few passes where either he overthrew it or something like that happened. And I guess I don't know quite what to say other than it just seemed like he was struggling, like he was trying to tread water. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's my thought really quickly on there. Casey did get rattled at some point and he did have some bad passes, right? Like I said, I think you can expect that.
Yeah.
I would credit Northwestern's defense adjusting to the Whipple pass attack more than I would discredit Casey. I thought Northwestern played really good D, and they were all over the receivers, and there weren't a lot of options. I mean, just look at the seam routes at Borkature when he was covered completely. Casey put that ball on the money. Maybe he could have thrown it 2 inches higher for Borkature, but the defensive guy was just on him the entire time, whereas earlier in that game, Vokalek would have been wide open, right? Not saying Casey should have thrown that ball, but the point is that Casey was still accurate, even going into the third and fourth quarter. I think it was more that the defense was blanketing every receiver, and it was really hard for him to find guys. Not saying he didn't throw some bad passes, but I just think the defense deserves more credit than he deserves discredit. That's where I stand.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Who knows?
Yeah,
I think it's hard for me to judge players off of one game, right? Because there are so many little things that went into that for him. He's learning a new offense. He's got new receivers. He's going against a team he's never faced before. He's got a new play caller. Like there are so many factors and variables that he has to account for. It's just so hard to judge him off one game. I'm protective of him because I did like what I saw in that first half. And I think that the ceiling is really high for him as a passer, but who knows? It's right now, we've only got one thing to judge it off of. And, the answer is he didn't win in the fourth quarter. He didn't get in the end zone in the fourth quarter when it mattered. So you're on to something.
Another thing is the way he puts heat on the ball, because he does. Yeah. He puts a lot of heat on the ball. As the game goes on and you get later into the game, especially in a game like that where you're starting to worry about the psyche of the players in general, maybe some of the receivers you saw more drops later in the game. Right?
Yeah,
so
far. Do you think the hot balls were a contributor?
That's a good question. I think it's really hard to know unless you're actually in the player's shoes. I mean, I think you saw in the first half, right? Like most of the receivers didn't have a problem. I don't think he was throwing them any hotter necessarily, was he? But the receivers didn't have nearly as much trouble catching the passes. So I don't think it was the hot balls, but I couldn't say what it was.
What I'm suggesting is that's the same intensity, heat on the balls coming in, but as the game wears on, the receivers.
See, now we got the chat talking about hot balls and shit. Now it's just
as the balls stayed the same temperature for the whole game. They just became harder to handle as your psyche as the psyche of the receiver started going down later in the game as it got closer. I mean, I see more of that.
Yeah, really quick. So this is a stupid comment from 515 Dave. Hot balls, absolutely not. How many people in here actually played football? So I played receiver in college, Dave. If you throw a ball at me as hard as you can from 7 yards away, it's a lot harder for a guy who's on the run to catch that ball. The quarterback has to adjust how he's going to throw that and deliver it. So come on.
Especially
we all
if you're
played football in here. Actually, I could say majority of the people in this chat, I'm assuming, played football.
especially if you're a receiver and you're adjusting back to it like this, the hotter that is. I mean, on replay, you just see a ball hit his hands and come out. I think he still needs to make that catch. But I don't necessarily put it on Casey. I think if that's the way he throws the ball, that's what the receivers need to be adjusted
Here's
to.
the thing. I have no idea. I have no idea if that ball is coming out too fast or whatever. I think we're all trying to make joking excuses for why things changed in that second half and trying to find answers. But there is no answer. The answer is they just didn't play as well. They weren't as cohesive, and things didn't go their way at the end there. Hopefully things get better. I'm sure that Casey and Whipple are going to adjust for it, and the offensive game plan is going to be a little bit different if they go up against a team like Northwestern, who comes out with adjustments. Don't know far. Hopefully Casey's better than what we saw at the end of the game in that Northwestern one.
Yeah. And, well, I guess if I can ask one last question.
Of course.
So, if you're Nebraska's offense in that situation, and I wasn't necessarily trying to blame it on Casey so much, I guess. But if you're Nebraska's offense and you're in a point in the game where you need to be scoring, but the defense is just, the defense has figured it out. The defense has shut it down. What do? Do you do something new with Casey? Do you maybe go to a guy like Smothers where, like they know what Smothers is going to do, but they haven't seen him do it in that game? How do you adjust to that?
You're saying how do they adjust after they adjusted to the passing game?
Yeah, after the defense has adjusted to Nebraska's passing game, how do you as Nebraska's offense adjust around, do you keep passing it or do you try something else?
They had to establish a run game, I think. I really liked when they brought in Logan Smothers and broke it up. They had a 7 or 8 yard gain plus 15 for the penalty. I think if they would have been able to establish an outside zone or the RPO with Casey, maybe it would have been a little bit more effective because what they were doing obviously got figured out. That's kind of what Scott Frost made a comment about. The offensive coordinator and I need to get on the same page and be a little bit more creative in this league. Don't know what he meant by that because it was almost like he was targeting his guy when they should be on the same page since they're both offensive minds together. But the point is, I think they need to break it up and not throw the same plays at Northwestern that aren't working. That's probably the answer. But I don't know the answer. I'm not a coach, so they got to figure it out. We're just here to watch and hopefully see a win.
Yeah, and I guess just to wrap it up quick, that's kind of what I was trying to say as I went in. Casey's obviously the number one guy. Short of injury, no one's overtaking him. But once you get figured out and once, the wheels are kind of spinning, I guess in my opinion, it might be maybe you're in a position where you need to bring in a guy like Smothers where, even though he is the number 3 guy, you can change the game up under him. But I guess that's all I wanted to say. But yeah, just thanks for bringing me on the show and look forward to keep watching it.
Thank you for being here. We'll talk to you soon. Here's a comment from Crypto Badger Denon. It says, from what I remember, their D adjusted well. Thompson had one pass that was just crazy on the out route. Not all the passes were perfect, but catchable. As a D1 receiver, you have to catch hot balls. Yeah, the hot balls thing's a joke, right? He's not actually throwing the ball too hard in almost every circumstance. There might have been one ball that was a little bit fast at a guy who was 5 yards away. But these guys got to catch the ball if it hits them in the hands. And a lot of the balls were hitting the guys in the hands. I think Casey tightens up, though. I don't think he's going to have as many wild balls as we go into the... Denon, just looking at you makes me break character. I don't think he throws as many wild ones as we get into the thick of it, but who knows? You got to see more to judge the body of work. Can't judge it off of one day.
I was going to read that one now that I can read that. I had it so I couldn't see to read the last one that you called in. And since he's throwing money, I was going to read this one. That's why I was smiling. But but you just took it from me. You stole my thunder.
You can read the next one. We're bringing in another caller. Right
Okay.
now we've got Grant.
How-
Grant, can you hear me? Grant, unmute yourself, brother.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing great. Just answering some questions, talking about Nebraska football, trying to get excited about this North Dakota game. Actually, let me rephrase that. I'm not trying to get excited. I'm excited. I'm trying to make sure you guys are all just as excited as I am because it's football season, baby. We got a game 2 days
Sure.
away. What you thinking, Grant?
I have a question for you. So, as we've seen the defensive front, obviously the push on the pass rush was just something I wasn't expecting. All the hype over Nelson. You got Mathis, you got Caleb Tanner, you got Ty Robinson, and then you look at people like Nash Hutmacher, who is behind. And I seen one of the interviews that Chenander did, and he was saying how Nash was the strongest guy on the team. People
Yeah.
like that, I feel like, need to make maybe a push, and I feel like the loss in Tony Tuioti, I think maybe was a little. I wonder, like, do you feel like that's a big loss for this team as far as like why they aren't building that pass rush?
After this game, it feels like that was a big loss, right? You had a defensive line who's been competent for the last few years. And then this week, they got manhandled. And you got to give Northwestern credit, like we talked about. They have a great offensive line. There's a question here that popped up in the chat. It says, how much do you think the conditioning played a role in the fourth quarter comeback? And maybe on the D line, they weren't as well conditioned as the Northwestern offense. But at the same time, they played, I think it was 10 minutes in difference on time of possession for the Northwestern offense versus the Nebraska offense, which means the defense was out there for a lot more plays. Some of those guys were playing 85 plays in that game. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how much has to do with conditioning or strength versus in Duval, essentially, or how much of it has to do with coaching or just will and want. I think those are answers that we'll get in these next few weeks because I think it's impossible to see a game as bad as we saw for the defensive front. I really think Ty Robinson's a good player. We know Garrett Nelson's a good player. So they're going to bounce back. I don't know, though, if they're going to bounce back to the level they played at last year. And that's something we're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything you said there. And I love to see like people like Garrett Nelson because like although I know all the work he puts in throughout the summer and all the, the spring, the fall, everything, it's good to see people go out there like that. And it affects me just as much as him, like just seeing that loss. Like I know he's a better player than he played against Northwestern. Obviously going against Peter Skoronski is a tough, that's a tough opening game, but I think our defensive line just needs that extra. I don't know exactly what it is. It's maybe coaching, technique. I don't know exactly what they need, but it's definitely that pass rush is something that needs to be fixed for sure.
Yeah, the main thing with the pass rush is it affected the rest of the defense. And the DBs, as I don't even know what the right word for it is, they were put in a position to fail because they had to make so many open field tackles against big Northwestern running backs who they shouldn't have to tackle by themselves, right? So they hurt the DBs. The linebackers, I don't know what happened with the linebackers and why they weren't ready to go. They had a lot of missed tackles. But if the defensive line can improve just a little bit, the entire defense gets better. So I think it's really important that D-line figures out their shit these next few weeks. And hopefully, if they do, the defense gets back to real form because, it was hard for us as Nebraska fans who love the defense so much to watch that game last week.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I also wanna go back. I want to ask you. So I was watching one of your videos in the past about how you mentioned I think it was like 5 things that Scott Frost, offensive coordinator, needed to be successful. And the one thing that Mark Whipple that on your video is that he's not a big run the ball guy, and that was one thing you had commented. And I think that's really going to show. I mean, that was a great point that you made, and I think it really, he had no ties to Scott Frost. That was good, but this run the ball game is definitely going to be a big factor, and I think you pointed that out very well. With that.
Do you think that Scott Frost, now that he knows what Whipple's going to call in a game, do you think he's going to try to work with Whipple to establish more of a run element in the play calls?
It's tough because I feel like if he does, I feel like he will maybe get over involved in the offense again. And then he'll be like, okay, I want to take more control. And then we're going to get into like issues with, I feel like maybe schemes, we're going to have a lot of issues, maybe some miscommunications with formations and things like that. Like it can get pretty complicated for a player for sure.
100%. It's tough. I think there's a lot to learn. That's the whole thing, right? We've seen one game. It's not the entire body of work. There are going to be a lot of changes that come. Some of the best teams don't play the best in week 0 or week 1, and they get better as the season goes on. So I think there's a lot to be seen and a lot to learn. But thanks for calling in, Grant. Love to have
Thank
you here.
you.
I don't want to see any more week 0s.
I mean, I want to see week 0s against Tulane. I'd be cool with
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey, man, baby. Thanks for the super chat. Every dollar counts. I like this comment from Dave. He said, need to rotate more between Robinson, Feist, Wynn, Nash, Drew, etc. I think Chin's already hinted at that. And I think the entire team needs to rotate players more. One of the things I mentioned in the last video is I'd like to see the best players on the field in the most crucial times. And no knock on Wyatt Lever, but I would have been happier to see a Trey Palmer, Alante Brown, and Isaiah Garcia Castaneda in that starting lineup in that situation, just because they had been the ones catching the balls all game, right? Lever came in for his first catch and it had to be that clutch situation. Got to give these guys some time to warm up. So hopefully they do rotate these guys more. It'll help them for their conditioning and let them play longer throughout the game, or longer and at a higher level throughout the game.
Be there for that entire drive at the end.
Exactly.
Don't go,
Crypto Badger with another super chat. Do you want to read this one?
I know Nash, great kid, strong as a bear. He needs the speed of a bear. He needs the speed of a bear. A hungry bear is a dangerous one.
Well, hopefully Nash is a hungry bear and he picks up some of his speed. Thanks for the super chat again, Crypto Badger, and for always contributing in the chat. You give us some great things to talk about. I'm going to bring in another caller here.
Maybe we should douse the opposing quarterback in honey.
We're going on like an hour and 25 minutes. Guys, I'm going to cut this stream off at 5 p.m. so we can all go and watch the Purdue game. So we got another 20 minutes. I'm going to add Kai. Kai, can you hear us? You can unmute yourself if you can hear me.
Hello.
Hey, Kai, how you doing?
Good. So my question was, so if Thompson starts to struggle like he did a little bit in the fourth quarter against the Sooners, what quarterback do you think they bring in, Purdy or Smothers?
Dude, I have no clue. From what we've understood, Purdy is the number 2, right? So you would always assume that the number 2 would come in. Smothers is the situational guy, so I wouldn't assume the situational guy comes in to lead the entire offense. That's just my guess right now. I think we'll have to see what happens this week and see how good Purdy plays, if he does get a chance, or hopefully he gets a chance on one of these next 2 games, because these are supposed to be the preseason scrimmage vibes. But right now, if it was tomorrow, from what we understand about the depth chart, Purdy comes in to lead the offense. Smothers stays in a situational role.
So also, when they play the Sooners, do you think that they'll run like 3 running backs like we did last week, or we'll stick to just one big guy?
Dude, I don't know. I think that they're going to test all the running backs this week. I think they would have played Gabe Ervin last week if he wasn't hurt. Mark Whipple said he was hurt. I don't know if he was hurt, if he was dinged up. I don't know what the deal is. But I got to believe they're going to at least try to use 2 running backs. They gave, I think, 13 plays to Allen and 11 plays to Yant. So I'm going to guess those numbers go up a little bit more if you've got Gabe Ervin and you see Gabe Ervin with like 20 plays and maybe Anthony Grant with 32 or something like that. So I think two running backs is safe to say get the majority of the carries, and then you got a couple other guys who come in.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a great comment right there. One thing that me and my friends were talking about at school is that Thompson is sort of the guy that we thought Martinez was going to be, but I guess Martinez does run more than Thompson does, but I think we need to see more runs out of Thompson, though.
Yeah, they said that Casey can run, so hopefully he can run it a little bit more, because I think he's got some scramble ability, right? And that would really help open up the offense, keep guys confused, keep the defense on their toes. So I think you're right. We'll look for it this week. Maybe he'll bust something open.
Okay, thank you for the time.
Hey, thanks for calling in. We'll talk to you soon. All right, we're going to bring in, what?
I'm hoping to see Ramir Johnson in
He's going to get
the Oklahoma game. Back in my mind, I'm thinking maybe they're keeping him a secret.
No, I want to see him before that in his new role, his situational role as a wide back. I want to see how they use him, if they're going to use him on screen passes or put him out in the flat. You know, do they do?
Yeah, you probably should exercise it against an opponent before you bust it out against Oklahoma.
Yeah, I don't want to just busted out in the OU game. Okay, Crypto Badger, much love, guys. Thanks for the show. Grab a beer and cool down from this 100 degrees. Purdue game speak volumes tonight. Hey, Crypto Badger, thanks for joining us again. Cannot wait to see you in the next one. We love having you here. We're bringing in another caller. We've got Chew. Chew, you can unmute yourself. Chew, you there? Hello, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's happening?
All right, so I got a question for you. So
Right.
kind of piggybacking off of the last question, not seeing Ramir or even Gabe. I know they're kind of dinged up a little bit, but
Yeah.
seeing Allen in the game was kind of a shocker to me.
Was it?
Yeah,
How come?
I guess. I mean, we've heard good things about him, but not seeing Ramir or Gabe, just what we kind of seen last year, something different, and just the lack of the run game. I figured getting somebody that we're, I guess, used to. It just seemed weird to me. Just watching the game in general just seemed odd. It didn't feel like Nebraska football. I don't know if you guys had the same feeling about it.
It
But
didn't feel like Nebraska football because they were throwing it a lot. It felt different because we haven't seen Nebraska complete a 35-yard pass or whatever for a touchdown in a long time. So
yeah,
but
just
it
going.
looked like Mike Riley days. I remember seeing Tommy Armstrong throw balls like that.
I was gonna say because that game kind of made me. I know I love Thompson. I like what he can bring, but I didn't want to see another Tanner Lee instance. That's what I was worried about.
I don't think we'll get to that point. I don't think it'll ever get to the Tanner Lee point where he's got to throw nonstop. Who was the running back when Tanner Lee was here?
Oh God, I don't remember.
Terrell Newby? No. Was it? No.
No.
Chat, who was the running back when Tanner Lee was at Nebraska? Divino Zigbo? No. Was it Divino Zigbo? He was one of the running backs. Dude, how do I not know this? 2017 Nebraska offense. 17 Nebraska. Oh God, am I a Nebraska expert or not?
Yeah, that's a rough
I'm a
one.
freaking joke. I'm sorry, guys. This is embarrassing. I don't know this off the top of my head. Don't hate me. Oh, it was Divino Zigbo.
Yeah, it was a Zigbo. And was it
the
year before?
It was Trey Bryant was going to be the guy. Trey Bryant was the guy, and then Trey Bryant got hurt, lost for the season, and then it was Ozigbo.
Also, do you think like I know back in the day Northwestern used to run two quarterbacks, like a pass heavy and then like a kind of a scrambling quarterback?
Yeah.
Do you think that would be beneficial to our offense just to mix it up?
Wait, say it again.
So I don't know what year it was. It was when I was younger. Northwestern had kind of like a Martinez type quarterback and then a pass heavy quarterback.
His name was sorry,
you know
guys.
What I'm talking about though?
Yeah, of course. Guys, I'm embarrassed that I don't know these things off the top of my head.
I know who you're talking about because one of the passing type quarterbacks playing in the NFL now. What's his name too?
No, Trevor Siemian. No, he's not talking about him.
Yeah, but wasn't there a year when Siemian was going back and forth with another running guy?
I don't know. The guy he's talking about was a light-skinned black dude who was a little bit smaller. He was, I'm looking up right now. Chat, if you know, tell me. Northwestern quarterback. What was that? 2012? Hey, how old are you, bro?
I'm 22.
And you said you were in high school?
No, I think it was middle school.
Dude,
so
now I just got to know this dude's name just because I've got to know it. He's one of the guys who contributed to NCAA football getting taken down. What was his name?
Oh, wasn't he didn't want to unionize too?
Yeah.
He wanted to unionize.
Dude, really fast. He was awesome. He was such a good quarterback.
That's how you Google it.
He was such a good quarterback. They said Coulter.
Kane?
Yeah, it was Kane Coulter. That's who it was. He wore number 2. That dude was awesome. Northwestern was really good back then. Okay, sorry. I got distracted. Finish your question, Chu.
But do you think that would be beneficial for a Nebraska offense to having like a Smothers Thompson, not 50-50, but at least get Smothers in there just to mix it up and switch it up?
Yeah, 100%, dude. We have to have a guy who can break it up because, like Scott Frost said, in this league, you got to get creative. What he didn't finish was you got to get creative when you don't have a good offensive line, but doesn't need to be said when we know it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, how often has that really been said? How often have we ever seen that really be successful? 2 quarterback systems.
No, not a 2 quarterback system, but bring someone in who can break it up. Think of
more like a wild
Drew
kite.
Brees and what's the guy's name? The guy on the Saints, number 7.
He
He's
played
supposed
at
to be football
Miami.
next
Keenum?
weekend.
Not
No,
Keenum, not
Keenum.
Keenum.
Dude,
Who am I?
My son would.
I'm
I know. My son would be
I
mad at
look
me right now because
I look like an idiot.
doesn't it Tan or something?
No, I got you. Hang on. This is dumb.
It's been a long day.
Taysom Hill.
Taysom.
Okay.
Taysom.
So
Tanner.
look,
Taysom.
guys. In
Tanner.
chat, don't be mad at me for forgetting Taysom Hill's
Taysom
name.
Hill's
I've got a lot of information in my head that I'm trying to process. Here's the thing, Denon, to your question. Would it be successful or would it hurt them? No, it would be a beneficial thing because they've got to break things up and they've got to make sure that the defense gets different looks. They
Well, it's
can't
like
run
running a
power
wildcat,
offense.
right?
It's like running a wildcat. You do it, 6 times a game. It's not going to be a failed system if you do it that way. Chew,
Gotcha.
I think you're onto something if they do it that way.
I don't know. I just felt like watching the game. Casey played well in the first half, but when Logan came in, like when you said earlier, 8-yard run. I mean, you just got to bring that in every once in a while. Speed up the tempo, speed it up, slow it down.
They should have
Something
kept him
different
on
every
the
time.
field. They should have ran at least 2 or 3 more plays off of that. Just get it, maybe if there wasn't a face mask and play wasn't stopped to mark off the penalty, they would have gone fast and kept him out there more. But I would have liked to have seen him at least get to 3rd down before you change things out. See what you could do. See if he can bust something open because he was close. There was a lane.
Yeah, I think he's going to get more chances. So I think we're going to see that, Chew, but not sure if it'll be this week or what the deal's going to be.
I
But
hope so.
In the future, we'll see it.
Got to stay positive.
1,000%. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Have a good one, guys.
You too. Later.
Let's get it.
Dave said we don't have Leak Tebow here. Dave, look, we know we don't have Leak and Tebow, but we got our version of it. And Smothers might not be a Tim Tebow, but maybe he's a Johnny Manziel.
I don't think he has the arm for that. Are we doing another caller or are we going to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, we're going another caller. We got some minutes. We got a Smoking Cactus in here. Hey, Smoking, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, absolutely, I can.
How you doing?
Doing good. First time checking into your guys' stream and everything else.
Oh, you haven't been on the live stream before?
No, this is the first time.
Dude, we love it here. It's a great time. We're happy to have you.
I watched one of your guys' videos the other day and I figured I'd tune in again.
Very nice. Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah, not a problem. So my thing is not really a question, but I know I may get flack for this, and I'm kind of the same way with like you guys. This is, in my opinion, a reset year. I mean, we've got pretty much a whole new coaching staff. We've got a whole bunch of new kids coming into play. So it's like, it's going to take some time to gel, in my opinion.
Okay, let me ask you a question really quickly because when you say reset year, and I'm going to turn up my headphones a little bit because I got to make sure I heard you clearly. You said a reset year as in bring in new coaches, bring in new players, let them get a chance to gel and accept like a 6-win season?
Yeah, I'm accepting like a 6-win season and a bowl game. Let's at least show good progress throughout the year, in my opinion.
So just curious, and I am not a Frost hater. I am not a fan who's going to get excited about anything you say, so you can be completely honest with me here. If Nebraska won 5 games, but they lost them all by 3 points, like all their 7 losses were by 3 points, and they look like they're trending up towards the end of the season, do you keep Scott Frost?
Absolutely. Without a doubt.
Very nice. Very nice. We've got some people who are saying they agree with the caller so far. I think Scott Frost has a little bit of a leash because he has these new coaches and all these new players, right? And when I say a little bit of a leash, I mean he's not getting fired before the 6-win or the 6-game mark. Okay.
Right.
But
exactly.
I think it's going to be tough if he doesn't get some things going later in the year to keep him because the fans are going to be so hot, especially if he's losing games the way he lost the Northwestern game. Not to say that the onside kick was the reason they lost the game, but the onside kick was a coaching decision that he made that directly contributed to the outcome of that game. And I think it's going to be hard if he has multiple of those to fight for him if you're Trev Alberts. What do you think?
I sort of agree, but I hope he doesn't make any more of those bonehead.
Let's say let's say that's who he is. I keep in mind, if you've watched any of my videos, and I know my chat has, I have defended Scott Frost to death. I love Scott Frost. I want him to work out more than anything else in the world. Even right now, as I speak, I want him to work out. I want him to turn this around, okay?
I
But
think
there comes a point when you got to look yourself in the mirror, right?
I agree, but I also think we're going, not to like bring up like a business type thing and everything else. We're going through a transition at our business right now where the CEO is trying to let go, and even he steps in the way when he shouldn't be stepping in the way, and it's a learning thing. And I understand he's got to like let his coaches do what he's got to do, and it's going to be hard. It's hard to let go of something that you've always been in charge of.
For sure is. Well, hey, I really like this insight. And I think there are a lot of other fans like you in the chat right now. If you're looking at it, there are a bunch of people who are agreeing with you.
Oh yeah, I see
Um,
it.
I'm on the fence right now. I really want to see some proof. I did not hate how they played last week. I did not like how they played towards the end there, but I saw a lot of bright spots, and it didn't make me lose faith to the point where I'm, on the train of fuck everything, go Big Red. But yeah, they got to show something soon. I
As
think
long
that's kind of the deal.
I think as long as we keep showing progress, and I think we will this year. And like I said, I'm still not 100% on Casey yet,
Yeah.
so he's new. Um, he kind of showed some of what he's done at Texas also. Like he
Yep.
gets rattled, and then he doesn't play his best game. So we'll see. I hope that the boys can get it all figured out, and we end up winning the rest of the year.
All right. Well, hey, I like the positive attitude. The chat likes the positive attitude. I hope you bring the positive comments on the channel because I got to filter through a lot of negativity. So any positivity helps, and it gets me more motivated and excited to make content. But
Heck yeah,
thank you for tapping in with us.
heck yeah, go Big Red, and I can't wait to go to the night game in 2 weeks. My first night game ever. So
I love it. Have fun. We'll talk to you soon.
Have fun.
all right, thanks. Hey, thanks, guys.
All right. We've got Christian spamming the chat. He really wants to come in. Christian, can you hear me? You're muted right now, but you can unmute now.
Yo,
Big
Yo.
Red.
let me mute the TV here.
Okay, I want to ask you the first question though. That's the deal situation. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Do you think Nick Saban could win with our current players?
What? Are you kidding me? Of course. We go 15-0.
Really?
Are you kidding me?
All right, Chris. Christian agrees with you, or not agrees with you. He answered your question. He said that he thinks 15-0. So if you had any desire to get a coach who could win 15 games here, I guess the one you'd want to target is Saban.
I mean, if we could get Saban, I mean, my goodness.
All right, well, now is your turn. What do you have to say?
Okay, so I think everyone is overreacting by a mile and a half. I think the first mistake we could have made was to play a Big Ten West opponent in the first game of the season. What are we in Ireland? I mean, how many variables could you make to mess us up? I don't understand that one bit. I think if you add us in, if we play South Alabama and North Dakota and a normal warm-up game, I think we go 15-0. I think that we need these next two games. And I think everyone needs to stop overreacting, breathe, take 17 breaths if you need to. And at the end of, we'll play Oklahoma, and that's what will tell if we're actually good or not. I think everyone's overreacting by a mile. That's all I got to say.
I think you're right. Everyone is overreacting. We got to chill out. We got a long season ahead of us. Like you said, those factors were for sure contributors to a loss and should have been red flags going into it. I was a little bit nervous and couldn't sleep the night before. Even on my live stream the night before, I talked about that. Yeah, I don't know about the 15-0 comment you made. That's the one thing where I might say, but outside of the 15-0 comment, hey, I'm on board with you, Christian. Overreactions off the freaking hook.
Yeah, I mean, playing in week 0 is just, you have all the national attention on you. I think ESPN and all those, I mean, I've been watching every single YouTube video that's come out because I have a serious problem.
Yeah,
but I think that we're getting negative because we played in week 0. I think that was just a mistake. I think that the season starts this week. Scores by 90, baby.
I like it. Hey, I got a question for you to follow up because I'm on board with you. Do you think we should do more of these live call-in shows? Do you like the format?
Yeah, I think it was really fun to hear, like, if you will, the common man to get a chance to talk on the show and kind of hear everyone's perspective.
Cool. I got one more question for you. Have you been watching the other live shows I've done?
I have been. I watched the one with Marquise, and I watched the one with college football with Sam because I saw you said he said we went 11-1.
Yeah.
And I chug Husker Kool-Aid, so I want to hear whatever someone like that has to say.
Dude, you're my ideal guy. You're my subscriber. You're exactly what I was looking for when I made this channel. So do you think we should bring on some outsiders, some Nebraska, not Nebraska-based media guys to talk and get their opinions on things going on?
Yeah, I think that'd be sick. As long as they're not negative, because that really bums me out. And like I said, I have a problem. So as long as they don't ruin my life, that's cool.
Shit. I'll try my best, brother. So I think I'm going to try and get, and you can tell me if this is a good idea or not. I think I'm going to try and get an OU insider for a show OU week. You think that would be cool?
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I really think that's when the season starts.
Yeah, I do too. You going to be at that
Is that
game?
OU game? I'll be at every game. Section 37, row 11, seats 7 and 8. Come see me.
I love it. Well, if you run into me, make sure you call out my name.
Will do.
All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for being here, Christian.
All right, brother.
All right, we're going to bring in one more caller before we hop off because this has been a great show, and I love talking to all you guys. Christian, you were as good as advertised. We're going to bring in Veteration. Yo, bro, can you unmute yourself? Veteration. My name.
Hello?
Will do.
All right, I'll talk. Hey, can you mute the background?
Hello?
Hey, you hear me?
Wait, why can I not hear you guys?
Test. Hello.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh is right.
We're
going to bring in
my
Veteration. Yo, bro, can you unmute yourself?
We can hear the show in the background.
Okay, I think I got it.
Perfect, you got it now.
What's up, guys?
Nothing. We're just hanging out. You're our last caller for the day.
The last caller. Okay.
Get your insight, your question, whatever you got to say.
I see myself as realistic as a fan can get. I try not to get too hyped up and too, down bad when we lose and when we win. We're gonna beat North Dakota, all right? That goes without being said. After the loss, my biggest takeaway from it is the thing that has been an issue that I haven't really heard a lot of other people talk about is second half adjustments. It's just we really haven't been a second half team in the Scott Frost era, and I don't know if that's a direct reflection of Frost. I'd have to imagine it is, but it's just like the Northwestern game. We came out running the exact same kind of offense. We didn't show really many wrinkles at all, and we expected them not to adjust, and they adjusted because Pat Fitzgerald is, really good. So I was just wondering what you guys thought about the second half adjustments thing.
It's really tough because Nebraska's never been able to close out games, and I don't think it's just the second half. I think it's the idea that they can't close and they can't finish. If you can't finish, you can't win, right? Especially when you're playing against good teams in the Big Ten. I don't want to say it's a Frost issue because that means that I've given up hope on Frost. So I want to say it's a lot of factors, and that this year with all these new coaches to help him make better decisions, things will get better. In that first game, we didn't see that, unfortunately. Hopefully in this game, we do see it, and then the ones going forward. But right now, if I'm going to be honest with myself, I'm going to say Scott Frost has an issue with closing out games, and there's no one who can help him because last week we didn't see anyone who could help him. Like I said, I have hope that it gets better, but I don't know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the harsh reality of where we're at, right?
Yeah. And before Northwestern, I was hell-bent on 7. I saw us realistically winning 7. I wasn't, one of the people who thought we would get the 9 or 10, but I still think we could win 7. It's very, very possible to win 7, but I'm kind of more focusing on 6. I think 6 is a more realistic goal after seeing what we have with Northwestern, because honestly, the offense and defensive lines, that's where the game begins and ends. So if we can't get it going, and I'm sure we can, it's week 0, obviously, but
Yeah.
from what we saw against a clearly superior team on both sides of the ball on the lines, it really kind of took a lot of the hope for maybe going 8 or 9. I'm kind of more dead set on 6 or 7 now.
Yeah, hey, I think there's a lot of people who have kind of the 6 and 7 wins in their head. There are some people who still believe 8, 9 wins is possible. I think anything's possible at this point. I'm not going to count them out because things can change in an instant. We've seen it happen in college football before. I don't think Nebraska's floor is as low as people say it is. There are a lot of people saying 4 wins, 5 wins now, and it's kind of BS to me. There are winnable games on the schedule, even if you can't beat Michigan or Oklahoma or Iowa or whoever, right? So I feel good about 6 or 7. I will say that.
Yeah.
But all right, well, thanks for coming in, and we'll catch you on the next one.
I'll see y'all.
All right, we got one more caller who really wants to come in. He's blowing up the chat. So Cody, take yourself off mute. You hear me? Cody, you there? Cody, you got to be prepared. And he dips out. Cody, I tried. Well, we're going to end it on that note because it's 5:05. Been here for a while. I had a great time with you guys here today. Denon, thoughts on the show today?
Pretty fun. I pretty smooth.
I think it's a cool vibe.
Yeah.
I like being able to talk to everybody and not just see comments, reading comments. I actually like to know what you guys have to say, and we can have an engaging discussion here. So
I'm surprised by the lack of trolls.
Do this more often. Yeah, there were no trolls, which I think is a testament to how good our community is. We have a really freaking good community.
One thing we didn't get to, and I was about to cut you off earlier for it, but we just kept bringing in callers, which is fine. I was totally cool with that, but we didn't get to the A or B today.
Oh, yeah, we don't have to worry about A and B. We don't do that every week. It's all good.
We'll get to it next week.
Yeah. Cody, call back next week.
All right, one.
Cody wants in. I got to bring Cody in because Cody...
He can answer the A or B.
Me. Yeah, Cody there. Cody, how are you going to leave?
I think there's something wrong because it drops your video every time he gets brought in. Oh, there it is.
Oh, it does? Am I in?
Yeah, it's good. Cody, you can hear us, right?
I'm back.
Hi, Cody.
What's up?
Cody.
Okay. All right, I had to pause what I was watching. I had one thought about Mark about Whipple.
Okay.
He's supposed to be one of the best offensive coordinators in college football.
Of recent,
yes. Against Northwestern last week, everybody knew that we couldn't get the run game going, and the pass game was working very well at the moment, and he just kind of went to the run very much. How I felt. So, we're putting a lot of the on Scott Frost for the onside kick, but when you are up by 11 and you go down and you are still running the ball, but it's not working, I feel like you should be going to the pass game.
You feel like we should be going to the pass game?
Yeah, more because
don't you feel like we passed it a lot? I think Casey threw it 42 times or something crazy.
But we didn't have I think our longest run was 40 some yards. But next to that was like probably 5 or 6. We didn't have anything too big. We ran the ball at least for every conversion. We probably ran the ball, and I think we ran out second down every time.
Okay.
Almost every time.
I don't know if that's true. I can't back that, but it sounds about right.
And we still couldn't move the ball down the field by running, so we had to pass it. And it looked like when the fourth quarter came around, AC Thompson wasn't comfortable with let me take that back. He looked comfortable with passing the ball, but the tight ends couldn't catch. Oh yeah.
Well, he didn't throw the best ball to the tight ends or put him in the best position either. But it wasn't all on the tight ends or it wasn't all on him. I think the defense just adjusted and played really well on them.
Yeah, and I honestly I don't like certainly dislike the onside call. I mean, I don't like it, but I just like
It wasn't
I
as
feel like
bad as people
it
made it out to be.
it wasn't as bad as from my perspective, because if we did get that ball, that game's over in the third quarter.
I agree with that.
Oh, but I
Fair
mean,
enough.
I
Well,
might be going to the game this weekend, so
all right. Well, if you're at the game, send me pictures in the Discord. I want to see. I won't be there, obviously.
you know I will. You know I will.
I love it. Well, thanks for calling in, brother. We'll see you in the next one.
Huh?
Talk to you soon. All right, guys. Now we're out of callers. So I'm going to be at the OU game in, what is that, 3 weeks from now? Two after this Saturday, 2 more Saturdays. So I'm hoping I get to meet a lot of you there. I know a lot of you are going to be there. Like I said, I'm going to put it in the Discord where I'm at, probably on Instagram as well, so you guys can find me or we can link up in some way. I think it'd be really cool to actually get to see you guys in person, because this group has been therapeutic for me throughout this offseason. You guys helped me get through the offseason because it was a long time with no football. And yeah, I just love being here with you guys. I love hanging out with you. So we're going to do more streams like this one. I might do some where I've got a guest on and I bring a caller on to talk to the guest. I'm not sure how we'll do it. One more thing I want to mention, because we have such a strong community now. Some people have sent me screenshots from other YouTubers' channels, and some of our audience will go and comment and say, you need to collab with Corn Crazed. I think everybody knows what Corn Crazed is now. So I don't think we need to do that anymore. It just turns into harassment if you say it too much. Anybody who wants to collaborate with our channel is going to collaborate with our channel. Obviously, we've got the best numbers and one of the most engaged audiences. So people are going to come on, I think. Some might not for whatever reasons, but I don't really care. We're going to have plenty of great guests. We're going to have plenty of great people who want to come and talk with us. So I'm really excited for where things are going. Backseat Sports reached out to me, so I'm sure we're going to do some sort of collab either on my channel or on their channel. I told you guys Kenny Bell is one that someone's trying to connect me with. JB, he was the coach on that show, Last Chance U. Someone from our network reached out to him, and he said that I should reach out and we can schedule something. So that'd be really cool to get Coach JB. I know I want to get Zach Smith. He's got a podcast that he talks about Ohio State and the Big Ten. So my point is, we got a lot of great guests that we can go and get. And because we have so much engagement and such a good audience, people are going to want to come here and talk with us. So we got some great shows coming up. Like I said, merch is on the website now. It really helps when you support with the merch, stickers, wristbands, socks, hats, shirts, hoodies. We got it all. So with that said, tomorrow night, I'm going to go live again. We're going to do a preview of Saturday, talk about what we're thinking for some of the games, what we're thinking about the Nebraska game, just a way for us to talk and get more content in, because I like talking about Nebraska football and the rest of the country. If you weren't on the live stream last week, I had a few technical difficulties trying to learn how to use my new stream deck and all that, but I got them all figured out now. So it's going to be a really cool live show tomorrow. But with all of that, thank you guys for being here. Let me know in the comments after this video if you guys want more of these type of streams where we take the live callers, because I could do solo streams like this as well. And yeah, I'm going to see you guys in the next one. As always, go Big Red.